Okay, good afternoon. My name's Martin Powell. I'm the Mayor of London's Environment Advisor, so I'm extremely interested and privileged actually to be moderating this debate because we have a lot to learn in London about electric vehicles, electric vehicle uptake, and the debates here have been wonderful so far, so I'm looking forward to this. Along with Robert Footman, who will introduce himself in a moment, we're going to suggest a few things that we would like the speakers to consider and also for the debate. I think it's very important that we keep the session focused on what the C40 can actually do collaboratively. I think there are certainly three key areas for me. I think we need to think about how we can affect policy. We're all policy makers in our own cities, but perhaps collaboratively, what could we do? Are there things that we could do that send bigger signals to the market? And it might be interesting to hear from some of the manufacturers about how they see the C40 taking a role. And one thing personally for me, I think to ensure a sustainable approach to electric mobility is perhaps a responsibility we as a C40 group have. I think we would have failed if in 10 years from now there are landfills with huge battery stocks in them and we don't know how to deal with the waste, and we end up having to sort of post-rationalize how we deal with this waste. I mean, we need to build this into a sustainable approach to electric vehicle uptake. On that note, the other thing I would say, I've not seen many of the electric mobility presentations. I've been in the energy efficiency room yesterday and most of this morning, where we're talking about keeping the energy levels down. But given that it's Saturday afternoon, we need to keep the energy levels up. So I will try and keep you entertained. And if I can't, I will insist that our speakers and our panelists and our guests entertain us equally back. On that note, I'll just hand to Robert to say a few words.
Well, good afternoon. Yes, this is the graveyard shift, I'm afraid. Clapping from time to time will keep us awake. I worked for Hong Kong government for 30-odd years. I retired about 5 years ago, and I now pursue things like this, which are of great interest to me. Going back to what Martin was saying, I think there's a couple of points that are in the forefront of my mind. The first one is, and again, I've not been able to go to all the transport sessions, so I might have missed something, but the first one is that I think most of the discussion has been hijacked by electric cars. Part of the problem is getting people onto electric transport, electric public transport, and I'd be very interested in some feedback on plans that cities may have on extending electrified transport either through the rail, through heavy rail, light rail, trams, or even trolley buses, battery buses, and so on. Secondly, I think there's a dynamic between government direction and letting the market free to get new ideas going. And I'm not quite sure where that dynamics really settles. I've seen some really clear visions, city visions for what they're doing, and that seems, I'm not quite sure how much that is driven by the city planners, and how much it's driven by the folks from the market that you've been in touch with who've given you many good ideas. So I'd be quite interested to hear how that balance needs to work out. Thank you.
Great. So the way this session's going to work, I'm going to invite three excellent speakers. I have no idea whether they're excellent, but I'm sure they are. So three excellent speakers. And then we'll follow that with a panel discussion with some of those speakers and some additional people. And we'll have quite a lot of time for Q&A towards the end of the session as well. So without wasting a moment more, I'd like to invite up to the stage Mr. Paul Lin, who's the Marketing Manager at BYD. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my great honor to be here as the first speaker in the afternoon time. I know I'm tall as a Chinese, so I'm going to try to raise up my volume, trying to wake up everybody in this very good afternoon time. Seems to be some problem here for the presentation. My name is Paul. I'm mainly charging for the global marketing activities and related issue for BYD Auto products, and except Greater China, of course, and also the corporate spokesman for BYD. Okay, it's working. It's great. It's really energy-saving technology.
I should just say that his 5 minutes shouldn't start now, have started at this point. So, okay, we can start. Go.
Today, I would like to introduce to every attendee here our green city solution concept. Let's go for our vision. BYD have three mainly dreams. The first one, as you see from the top, is our solar power business. That's what we are now investment and we're trying to do. And second one is our energy storage business, which is also kind of the battery application. And the third one is currently we are working quite hard on that, is our electrified transportation. And from this very beautiful picture, we can see that the solar power business mainly is the combination of the gathered energy from the solar and then store into the battery in the independent house. Especially, it's quite useful for a lot of the area, even like LA, even like a lot of cities in Germany, and also in China as well, which have the very strong sunshine in the summertime and a whole year. And then it's our energy storage. It's kind of the energy solution system, mainly provide for saving energy and help to balance the peak and the valley for the power grid. And then it's our electrified transportation. We're nowadays facing a lot of the environmental issues in global-wise. Besides that, of course, including global oil crisis, CO2 over emission, and air pollution. And also in the urban cities suffer a lot from greenhouse effect and also kind of the tailpipe emissions. Also the kind of noise is also very bad damage for the environmental. And let's make an easy calculation. Nowadays, every taxi actually will run for 500 to 600 kilometers per day. Like will consume about 40 to 50 liters of gasoline every day. And private passengers will be much more less. It only run for 40 to 50 kilometers per day and consume 3 to 4 liters of the gasoline every day. For bus, like the data is showing in China, we run for 220 kilometers per day to 280. But of course, from KMB, sometimes here in Hong Kong, they run for 500 kilometers per day. So easily we can make the calculation. Actually, the fuel consumption of one taxi actually is mostly like 10 private sedans, and one bus, that means 30 private sedans as well. So for the policy, if we're talking about subsidizing one taxi, that means you will reduce the fuel consumption of 10 private sedans. That also means you subsidize 10 private cars. They're going to save around, annually, we'll save around 10 tons CO2 emission. And the same idea, if you subsidize one e-bus, that also will help to just like subsidize 30 private electric vehicles. So nowadays in Hong Kong, what we have around 17,000 public buses and around 18,000 taxis. That means the fuel consumption of the taxis is mostly like 300 million liters per year annually. And also the bus is going to be 1.1 billion liters every year. So now we can say that actually if we replace all the city taxi and the city bus here in Hong Kong, of course that's our dreams. And that's going to be, we only take replacement of the 7.6% of the vehicle, and we can achieve 61.9% of the population. That's a huge amount. As BYD, we actually, people know BYD might be from our electric vehicle. Actually, we launched our first electric bus at the end of September when Mr. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates visited us. And so we provide a total solution for either electric vehicle and e-bus products. We think that will be the entry angle to go for the electric vehicle era. The total solution including the vehicle, the bus and the sedan, and also including the charging system and software solution as well. And also maintenance is very important as a new product. Let's look at our bus. Because we are using bi-wheel motors, so the bus, the roof could be very low. We call it low deck and all-pass air view. And also yearly, it can saving the operation cost to be around 1.8 million Hong Kong dollar. It's very cost effective. And for the taxi as well, our taxi solution, we're using a quick charge as what we get the data from Shenzhen taxi pilots. Always the taxi company would like to have the very fast charging. So we designed this 40 minutes, 200 amps currency, and 100 kilowatt, quick, fast charging, super fast charging station for the taxi pilot in Shenzhen. That works very well. That's all of that. Thank you forever.